we're doing this thing. The commissioner of the Great Salt Lake is supposed to be the chair of this, so second fiddle it is. Get me till we get a new commissioner. But thanks for being here. I'm excited to work on this project with you all and get it right. That's what I'm really excited about. Something that can work well for us. So at first we had, I think most of you know, we've had the opportunity, we're in the middle of it, to do some pilot leases in Logan with some irrigation companies. So I'll introduce you all know Micah Safston. Oh, I always pick the wrong one. Safston. I always second guess myself. And then this is Owen Ritzman. He's been our field man this summer. Hired him as a summer intern, so he's been out doing field verifications on people that are leasing. So we appreciate them. So really quick, I just asked them briefly to just give us like a, hey, what are we seeing? What should we be aware of? What's working? What do we maybe need to consider as we like roll out this full blown leasing program? So you guys are up.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm just going to share my screen here. We go to the.
Turn the other direction.
All right. So, like Hannah said, we did start with some leases this year as a sort of a pilot program. A lot of you guys already know kind of what we're doing. In Cass Valley, we were able to get in contact with, well, we actually spoke to like as many as 10 or 11 irrigation companies. We focus on irrigation companies just because that's where the lion's share of most agricultural water is going to flow through an irrigation company. We had 8 irrigation companies, and I've got a map and a list of them here in a minute. 7 of those 8 are all at the southern end. We had one, Benson, that's kind of more north. They're along 3 different rivers, Logan River, Blaston Fork, and the Little Bear rivers in Cache Valley. We offered a price of $464 an acre. Just as a reminder, as I think you guys know, we lease water per acre. So that's what we pay. That's what we would pay for a full season lease, and then a split season is going to be sort of prorated to that, depending on the length and how much of the middle drier part of the summer that split season lease is going to cover. I do have estimates of acre feet. Please take that with a grain of salt, especially
is that price per acre similar to the price per acre feet? I mean, is it?
Yes.
Hard?
So I'll explain how I do have an acre foot price, but both the acre foot price and the acre feet of water we actually lease should be taken with extreme grain of salt, mainly for 2 reasons. The first is we don't have any approved change applications or dedicated water applications. So none of this water as of right now is being shepherded and accounted for in the Great Salt Lake. But also this is like the driest year ever. And so even if we did have approved change applications, those numbers would still be very, very low.
Question for you. Do you know, and I should know this because it's my division, but do you know if our network team is up there working and mapping acreage?
I mean, we send in the maps, acreage that we're leasing. Like what do you mean mapping? What
The depletion calculation.
So we our water right network, we're just about finished in the Colorado Basin. So we do have a team working in the Great Salt Lake Basin to help us kind of do depletion estimates and a variety of different things. And I'm just curious if it sounds like you probably haven't ran into them yet.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might actually put this as a priority, the Cache Valley as a priority, because I think it would help us to be able to shepherd the water and then also evaluate consumptive use. So.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. And that acre foot estimate is based off of just Hill report based estimates. We needed a way to evaluate how much water any particular lease is gonna yield for the lake, just so we know how much we can pay them or should pay them. And so we do have to make an estimate, and we want it to match closely what Division of Water Rights is doing, and that's going to be a theme going forward.
Division of Water Rights is making the call for us.
Yeah.
We want whatever your numbers are, those are our numbers. We're not going to do anything rogue.
The numbers you don't need to take with a grain of salt, though, are definitely like the total acres of combined service areas and the total acres that are actually put under the lease. So the 2,450, that is within the 18,000. That's the 18,000 is the total service areas that are eligible Estimated expense about 1.2 million. We did request 1.5 from the trust council earlier this year. But yeah, then that effective price, that price is based on 5,000 acre feet going to the lake, which again, just because it's such a dry year, we know it's not going to be that much. But this is kind of an effect of pricing water per acre rather than per acre foot. Is that in a dry year, you don't get as much water, but if you're paying per acre, you're going to pay the same amount of money. And so the effective price per acre foot goes up. But that to us is understandable. It's a dry year, water is scarce, price of water goes up. In a wet year, we're going to get more water, price is going to go down.
Yeah.
Okay, before you move on, guys, just geographically, is that all over Cache Valley, or is that? I'm just trying to think. Or is that like Benson, North Logan?
Here's the map of the total service areas are in green. So we have basically everything to the east of the Little Bear River. That's Paradise Irrigation and Porcupine Highline Canal. And then we have the Wellsville East Field Canal Company, which is farther down on the Little Bear. And then we have Young Ward, College Ward, and then kind of Nibley and parts of Hiram. Most of Hiram and the fields around there are not leasing. They were pretty hesitant. And then we do have Benson. Benson's a little unique in that they're fully pressurized and metered. And so it made a lot of sense for us to work with them, very easy to verify. And we have some really good leases in Benson. So you'll notice we have two.
Hang on one second. Jim, go ahead.
So are these all full season leasing, no split season leasing there? Is that what it is?
It's about half and half. And I'll have that breakdown in a few slides as well. We've got some split season and some full season.
Okay.
But you'll notice we have two categories of leases we're doing. We have leases with an entire irrigation company where they're delivering all of their water for some portion of the season. And then we have individual shareholder leases as well. Of the 8 companies that we're leasing with, 6 of them are doing a company-wide lease of some kind where they've agreed to shut off for a portion of the season. These are shoulder season leases. And in many cases, they're agreeing to stay shut off in a period where they were going to stay shut off anyway. And in that case, that's a period where we see very low depletions. So we pay very little per acre on those. But because it's across an entire company, it could be 2,000 or 3,000 acres. You might be paying $14, $15 an acre, but times 2,000, 3,000 acres,
Phenomenal.
we end up writing a pretty good check. Now, I do think that as we move forward, we need to think about how we maybe incentivize them to push those turn-on dates in these company-wide leases farther and farther into the irrigation season and pay less for them to just keep shut off during times where they were going to be shut off anyway.
It's kind of built into your model though, right? Like
it kind of is. I think it could be more aggressive.
Okay.
I think we probably need to be more aggressive in that.
To have them do that.
Yeah. Because we've got companies that said, "Oh, we'll lease all of our April water." Well, you weren't going to be converting during April, and so we're doing that for this year. But I think we need to probably pay less per acre on those. But then we got another company, Paradise Irrigation. They agreed to stay shut off until May 15th. And that was a sacrifice. They would have turned on this year. They would have turned on probably 1 or 2 weeks earlier had we not been leasing with them. And so we're paying them a lot more because they went farther into the season. But I want to incentivize more of those kinds of leases. And then we have individual shareholder leases where individual farmers are leasing farther into the irrigation season and even during the entire irrigation season. Owen has been actually going around to these fields and doing monthly inspections of all these fields and visiting all of them. I think at this point, he's been to just about every field under lease at least once, and many of them 2 or 3 times.
Does that work out for our vehicle?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Seriously.
We need a truck.
Yeah. We put in a budget request to get one. So we might park one in your parking lot.
Okay. I don't think it's our parking lot, but
It's your parking lot.
So here's I looked at this a minute ago, but here's the map of where these companies are, mostly the southern end. I will say where I think we've had the most interest among individual shareholders has been kind of in this College Ward, Young Ward area. Just just by a significant amount. My impression has been that farmers who are operating in an area that's maybe has less development pressure seem to be more willing to do this. I think farmers that are like, there's townhomes being built right next to their farm. Those companies and those farmers in those companies have, I think, been a little bit more hesitant. I think they're maybe just a little bit more on edge, a little bit more worried about a change like this. And that's just sort of an impression I've got. That's not like objective or anything.
Micah, do you
Are
have
you
any?
up in that area?
I'm on the north end of the valley, but I'm fairly familiar with most of Cache Valley, so. Do you know those companies that are doing this? Do you know, like, are they, how are they using that money? Is it just going back in? Do you know anything on the backside if they're?
Yeah, we've been, I've tried not to pry too much, but they've talked. And I think some of them, I think, are using the money that we're paying them to like just augment an increase in their annual assessments. Their assessments, yeah. And then others, I know the one in Paradise Irrigation, they're the one that really had like a company-wide lease that went deep into May. They need a new diversion, plumbing diversion. They're in fact, Owen and I went out and looked at it, and it's pretty old. It's like Pioneer era old. Yeah. And they need to replace it. And so this is improvement. This is a way to get some money. I think that company actually filed for a grant from Division of Water Resources and then actually withdrew that grant when they signed up for our lease, which I thought was interesting.
Did they apply for an ag optimization? You got work for ag optimization, right?
Paradise Irrigation.
Yeah. You asked if they apply for.
I just
I'm
wondered.
not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Jim may know.
Seems like
Yeah, I'm not sure if they did or if they didn't. So
They haven't talked to me about it. They did tell me about the grant they applied for at Water Resources, but not
Just as a side note though, Jim and Kelly, as Owen and Mike have been doing field verifications, there is still a ton, as we know, of old infrastructure. So it's been a good segue to be like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're interested in ag optimization,
and we've got
Yeah.
individual farmers that want to apply or have applied for ag optimization that are leasing. And like we had one guy, Lynn Harris the other day, he asked us, he's like, he wants to apply for ag op. And he's like, will my participation in this program help me in ag optimization? And we told him, no, it's not.
but something to think about.
It's
mhm.
no, but that could change, but that's not up to us. But I think as we're seeing, like, there is a lot of crossover opportunity between ag optimization and this program. It's ag optimization in many cases is like the way to make leasing better for everyone. So
Yeah.
So are they leasing then the saved water that's been generated from the projects, or are they just making it so efficient that they're able to irrigate with less water and not divert as much? Does that make sense?
I think it's kind of neither of those. In some cases, they haven't done ag optimization. They want to do it. But in the cases, have we had any that have told us they've done it? I mean, actually, we
in interactions I've had in person with farmers who I've had discussions about ag optimization with, none that I can recount have already participated. Some have applied and been denied because they're like, for example, one guy in Benson, his field was the wrong shape for pivots. It just didn't work out for him. So the folks that I've interacted with are folks who are interested in participating and figuring out a way to be more efficient, but have not yet implemented any infrastructure to.
we do have one, and he's actually a guy we started leasing with a year ago, who did ag optimization. He got a pivot, switched from wheel line to pivot. He didn't get the end guns at the end of his pivot because ag op wouldn't pay for it, and so now he's leasing the acreage, those corners. Yeah. Because he otherwise would have been irrigating them.
We talked a lot about
and so
Yeah.
technically that wouldn't be a saved water change application, but it is an opportunity to lease water, and it kind of came about because of that conversation.
I was just gonna say, I think Jim had a great question there that maybe is something for AgOp to kind of look at maybe. Where, you know, credit or points are given for saved water applications, but maybe something can happen with dedicated applications and then have like the annual report for AgOp to really highlight that as well as that partnership and that benefit.
Yeah, that's really interesting to be able to do, because it could even provide another opportunity just to install your AgOp if you wanted to do like a 1-year lease. You know, you could get maybe some points in AgOp, have the whole summer to install it if you want, right? I mean, just some flexibility. That's what's been cool about this is like, we really tried with irrigation companies to be like, what's going to work for you? And then they'll toss out an idea and be like, yeah, we can make that work.
And I think it just is also just another benefit of the AgOpt program that can be
Highlighted.
messaged.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
And no saved water applications have come through the ag optimization program. Is that correct? Or there have been 5,
Yeah.
6, excuse me.
All right.
Good timing.
Good thing it wasn't 11. So here's the 8 companies we've got on each of the rivers that were, 2 on the Logan, 3 on Blacksmith Fork, 3 on the Little Bear. They're all very high seniority. These are some of the more senior rights. One exception there is Porcupine Highline Canal. However, that one's unique because it's 100% on storage. I don't know if we're going to have the time to discuss storage in a lot of depth today, but they're 100% on storage. They have not all the water, but all of their water is in the Porcupine Reservoir. And so
Private, right?
it is, yeah. And they can release that, and they've tentatively agreed to release that at the in October, November of this year.
End of the season. Yeah. Let's run it. So we have to run it past head gates.
Here's the split.
Have you seen the state engineer's orders on Schofield in the price system? I can send them to you if you haven't.
I haven't seen the state engineer's orders on it.
Okay, because we did put some conditions that may fit some of these and a real benefit for, like, if Porcupine wants to do direct storage, it would probably be very similar to Price River water users. They wanted to be a little more, have a lot more flexibility to send through canals and bring back. But we did restrict them to just delivering down the river.
Okay.
So it just might be something, and I can send you the decisions if you want. Just to kind of
I'd love
see
to look at those. Yeah.
where those ended up.
Hey, Micah, are these companies coming to you, or is the Water Conservancy District up there kind of serving as a broker, I guess, that's kind of putting you in contact with these irrigation companies?
Yeah, Cap Water District was kind of they were kind
Let's
of
just call it what it is, Jim. Nate was fantastic.
yeah, Nate was a huge help
Yeah.
in getting
I was just curious.
Yeah. He was a fantastic.
yeah.
At one point, Nate told me that he worked for us.
Well, and I guess the reason I ask is, I mean, it seems like we've got somebody in our corner up in Cache Valley. What are we going to do in Box Elder County and areas like that? I think we're going to need to find another champion.
Yeah, that's where we're hoping Hannah would.
And also, I know he still hasn't joined because he played baseball, but just so you know, Mitch Hancock is our ag representative on this board. Also the vice president of Bear River Canal Company. So maybe that's our ace there, Jim. I'm hopeful that it is.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, Jim.
Yeah.
Nate was a huge help. We never could have done this without Nate. He talked to most all of these companies. So you can see we do have one of these, Paradise Irrigation. They have a great company-wide lease, but they wanted to kind of retain control over all leases, and they really did not want their shareholders to be able to lease individually. We would have preferred otherwise, but it's like, okay, that's fine. And so I think we're probably gonna see that more. I think that's not the only time that's gonna happen. And then we had 2 companies that they didn't want to do a company-wide lease, but they did want to allow their shareholders. Here's kind of the split between.
Can you go back to the shareholder leasing? Are those companies signing or
They,
the changes? They're,
yes.
they're supportive, but it's just the shareholders.
yes, but they are, we are gonna file dedicated water applications on the company's water right.
Okay.
And that's one of the things
Perfect.
we're requiring. And in the future, in future years, those two companies may decide they want to do. In fact, I know both those companies will want to do a company-wide leasing in the future. It was more like, hey, this year's a lousy year to do it. And so that's fine. That's fine.
One thing Mike and I kind of came up with off the cuff that I think that we should roll into this program and discuss is incentivizing companies to file a dedicated water application so that we're not doing 600 shareholder applications. So we pay these guys a bonus from $10,000 to $20,000 to file a dedicated application and then leave it in place for 10 years, right?
10 years.
Leave it in place. And then if they were to withdraw it, we had kind of like, well, then you have to pay us back this amount. But if the company will just, that's all they want to do is file a dedicated and give us access to shareholders, we'll pay them a bonus.
So Porcupine Highline and Midley Blacksmith Fork, they're still getting money from us. The company is still getting money. The other 6, they're getting the bonus plus their leasing on top of the lease payment and a bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no shareholder statements involved. It's all company-wide.
Yep.
Correct.
And one dedicated application.
We are pretty committed to avoiding shareholder statements.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and both for the sake of your office, Teresa, but also
Okay.
it'd be a
Our
nightmare for us
contract
too.
too.
Yeah.
So the contracting of the companies has been a little bit of a headache, but once it's done for 10 years. So
Mhm.
So something that we talk about as we are looking at applications that we may want to look and prioritize applications and dollars. If all the application is just a company dedicated change out. Probably want to look at that.
That's a good idea.
so in
Is
the-
that bonus paid through this program or? Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
it would be.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's a 1-2, right? Like the dedicated application then gives us access. Like these companies sent out leasing flyers for us to all their shareholders.
Yeah.
Like we printed them and they sent them out.
Really?
So like access to their shareholders that they
Yeah.
could then.
So
come.
I sent those out kind of in November, December of last year, and January, February, and first part of March of this year, I was having multiple farmers come into my office every day and at the USU Water Lab in Logan and pulling up the map, getting all their information, mapping out the land that they're putting under lease, getting the dates, getting kind of a quote, the price that they paid.
Interesting. So what changed the narrative in Cache Valley to get this like support? Because
Nate Dowd
it was pretty well
so
named.
great.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like
Yeah.
it's completely switched.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, like everything, I just didn't understand it on the front end. I mean, like when Micah started going to those
Mhm.
shareholder meetings,
Pretty bad. So,
My-
were you getting
my-
beat up?
my phone, I couldn't go into the grocery store without someone. And
Uh,
I was like, whoa, I don't know what you're talking about.
Who are you?
Yeah.
who is?
And it's different. Like I think south end of the valley in particular is probably much more open than the north end of the valley right now. And there's some complications on the north end where it's a lot of Idaho water too. But
And also, it's been interesting. That Mike and I have talked there's been a lot more interest if they're from farmers who are not full time.
Yes.
Oh,
It's a-
Like you kind of
Okay.
come back and I've got 40 acres that I take care of and another job.
mhm.
That's generated a lot more interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then-
That's why we have so much interest in the College and Young Ward area. It's because
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
Smaller
Okay.
farms and yeah, northern Cache Valley tends to look more like Box. It's big, more larger operations.
Yep.
I just remember 5-10 years ago, it was like, no way you can even,
oh yeah.
I mean.
There's still a lot of that,
Mhm.
like in the north for sure, like those guys that are particularly probably like that age 40 to 55 right now, where they're still not really thinking about retirement. They still resist it pretty hard.
And they're full-time farmers. Okay, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
But there's some real value once we figure out all of this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like even on our operation, my brother, I've been really careful not to like push his buttons. He's on the Cub River Irrigation Board. And, I mean, he's tried to bring it up a few times just in that one. And that one's weird because there's more Idaho guys on the board than there are Utah guys. But he brings it up and the Idaho guys are like, yeah, we're not interested. And the Utah guys, they just want to fist fight each other. So it's still pretty tender up there. But I do think as we figure out some of this stuff and people like my brother will go, maybe he's actually told me as we were laying out pipe and end guns for pivot corners, he was like, this is a lot of work for what we take off of these corners. And, so I can even see him doing the math going, maybe I'd be better off giving up these 60 acres in total of pivot corners rather than, paying people to move pipe on them all summer long. So.
Yeah. And Mike has been so great, so patient. I feel like you've been on the phone for 6 months straight. But also, I genuinely think another thing is the price per acre has really piqued interest of like, okay,
it might change where hay has just, like the sentiment might change a little bit the other way because hay is just skyrocketing right now. So those nominal acres, it might be worth trying to grow hay.
Get something on here.
But that's like last year when hay was in the toilet, my brother was like, oof, I wish we weren't doing this on these corners. So I think it's year to year.
Yeah.
The spring of 22, we turned our water on as early as we could, which was April 10th. And I think that changes it to,
And to kind of your point of what your brother's experiencing, I mean, with these dedicated water applications, if you get those filed, we get the approval with the annual reporting by March, your brother can make that decision. It looks like a dry year. I'm gonna send you my corners. Or,
that's exactly how we want.
And I think that's the pitch, that commercial of if you do it here, you get this little bonus, the company gets this little bonus. There's nothing even happens if you don't want it to, but all of this flexibility, I think that is going to be very appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah. And especially if you guys are able to do the verification, each year to, are the corners in or the corners out kind of thing. So.
Yeah. And I think just to be able to realize that guys are like, wait, I get to make that call. And we're like, yes, it's all on you. We have this application in place. And if you just say, we don't want to lease anything for 10 solid years. Okay. That's all right.
Do we want to move on to the administrative?
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah. No, you're good. These are
Thanks,
good
Micah.
conversations, but we can't even approve the rules because our board isn't even here. So let's review them and then we might have to come back at another meeting for an approval.
Can I ask, because I do have just a couple questions about them.
Totally. I'm going to
for Micah, I might connect you with our network folks just so that we can, because it sounds like that might be a priority area for us to really make sure that we're capturing the irrigated areas and then basically building out our network there to help facilitate this. So I'll connect them with you.
I anticipate that next year in Cache Valley, in this through this program now, we're still going to have a lot of interest. I think there's a lot of folks I think that are going to want to do this again, and are interested in kind of changing up their lease and seeing how can I get more next year, and particularly when we have a price ready to go. So we're going to continue to be leasing Cache Valley,
especially when you have some success stories and the farmers talk.
Well, we're going to be coming off the heels of what I'm prognosticating will be the world's our best winter ever.
Right.
Put it out there.
Put it out there, please.
Put it out there.
My shot right now.
Good.
The one thing too, I mean, to maybe think about, I know Cup River and we talk about Idaho water rights and all of that, and the mix there. But if it gets to a point that, I'd be happy to talk with the Idaho state engineer just to, is this something we could do? Or something that, I don't know. I don't know if it's even possible.
You know who calls me every other week? Tom Griffin. He wants to lease his water now, and he's on West Cache.
Which they're way more open than Cub River. But the Idaho guy sentiment is it's not our problem.
Yeah. But the Utah people that have Idaho water rights or those
yeah.
shares, you know, I wonder if there's something, I don't know.
I
mean,
would
it might
love
be
it.
possible.
It might be worth a phone call.
I
just to
agree.
Figure
Yes.
that out a little.
West Cache is a smaller portion of it is in Idaho, right?
Very
Yeah.
small.
Just the very tail end,
Yeah,
Yeah, West
very
Cache
small.
would be where we'd want to start.
yeah.
just west in the city starts the very end of it, so, which is pretty inconsequential, so.
Yep, absolutely.
So I will see him in October, for like 3 days. Is that too late? I mean, I could just broach a conversation
No.
with him when we're.
You know what,
sitting
that'd
down.
actually be good, because like the company shareholder meetings their annual fall meetings will actually be over. So the fist fighting will be over at that point.
Okay.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think the new frontier for ag water leasing for us needs to be like Bear River Canal Company, Box Elder. And so I don't think we need to be in any sort of hurry to make that work in 2027. I would say if we could get 2028
That'd be
West Cache,
amazing,
like
yeah.
I'd be blown away.
Okay.
And so
I'm
But
just
yes,
looking up,
that would be awesome if you would. If you're gonna offer, I'm absolutely saying yes.
yeah. So actually, are you gonna be on the Bear River Upper Tour when we do the commission does the Bear River Tour? It's September 11th, Friday. He will be on that.
Okay.
where is it, do you know?
We talked about meeting in Evanston and then driving up the Uintas and then going over to,
Take a break.
You're good, Bill.
and then back to Evanston. So, but it's on the 11th. If you want to, I don't know if you go on that or not.
I went on a few years ago. Have not been, but yeah, that might be.
I'll make sure you get like an official,
Yeah,
I'll
thank
get
you.
forwarded.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
So
That'd be
I'd
awesome. I love
this
it.
too.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Sweet. All right, well, now that we have no board members here, let's talk about our rule. I'm kidding. So I will just preface this with, we wrote the rule, a lot of it, I want your feedback and comments, and a lot of it is copy paste from our statute. I wrote it with the lens of, I would rather this board have a policy document that we can update whenever we need to and not have to keep going back and doing administrative rule and public comment and all of that process. So I wrote it with that lens. If the board does not like that idea, that's fine. We can write it and add a lot more detail in here, but that's just that's the crack that I took at it,
Okay. Do
if that's helpful. So
you want me to go through?
yes, that'd be
So I
great.
didn't really do a lot of edits where it should probably say Utah code section, blah, blah, blah. So there were a couple places there. One question I had on it is the R658-1-3, and it's 4A. It says attendance of 3 voting members at a meeting constitutes a quorum for the transaction of business. Well, there's only 3 voting
Members anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what if, I mean, should it be 2
Yeah, I think
instead
so.
of 3?
Yep.
Okay,
Will you keep track of these on our
Mhm.
Google Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Is it
because it,
literally nobody's here?
yeah,
You're okay. You're not, we're non-voting members.
Okay.
We're okay with that.
But those, like, all 3-member boards have the ability to take action.
Two. Yeah.
it sure seems
It's a
like that's the
majority.
You still
quorum.
need a
Yeah.
majority to
Mhm.
pass something,
Mhm.
but
2 is the majority.
2 is a majority.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Because I was like, we're gonna really get those 3 in the same room.
Look how good you did.
I know.
One was here. You just-
Oh, Mitch is
Oh,
here.
Mitch is there.
Oh, Mitch, you're here.
We got 2.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Hey, Mitch, you have your hand raised. You want to talk?
Nope, I just want to make sure I was acknowledged. I'm sorry I'm late. Board members are here.
Thank you so very much. We're just reviewing rule and welcome. And I already let everyone know we gave you the short end of the scheduling stick. So thanks for taking one for the team.
We're good in between games for a minute, so thank you. Thanks for having me.
okay, so the 2 voting members, and then under the next section, the rates for leased water, paragraph 2, it took me a minute. But I kind of want to insert a comma here where it says United States Department of Agriculture. I want to do comma,
Okay.
Utah Direct Hay Report, because I was like, United States Agriculture, Utah. It took me a
Sorry.
minute. I was like, is it you guys or is it, anyway, so just a comment there.
Okay. Awesome.
And then under leasing criteria, in the sub 1, you call it senior adjudicated water rights. I think you need to say perfected. Because adjudicated is a completely different.
Senior perfected water rights.
Yeah, senior perfected water rights. And then perfected also under that 3A. Because that then is if we've adjudicated the water rights, if there's decreed water rights or certificated water rights, you could lease all of those.
Okay.
Not just adjudicated.
Got it.
Okay.
And then a question on the next section, which is conditions imposed on the award of a lease. And this may have been intentional, but it seems like you're focusing only on the enforcement provisions for repayment and not, like, I guess I was expecting, would some of the conditions be laid out as far as like requirement for a dedicated water application or some of these other things to be outlined in rule?
Okay.
But I don't know if it's necessary if what you described as we got started.
Yeah.
Might not be, but it just seemed like the conditions and you just kind of focus on the enforcement piece.
Yeah.
So,
And that was just a copy paste from statute. And so we
Okay.
can add those conditions. Or Kelly, when you stepped out, and Mitch, I'd love your input also. I wrote this rule really broad and like bare minimum as possible so we could have a policy doc that we could update, or we can add more detail. Amber's comment also was to add some more detail in this, so I'm happy.
okay.
This seemed to follow the statute.
It really did.
Yeah.
That's basically what we used. So,
Okay.
if we did add conditions in here, what would you want to add some conditions for the lease of like, they must file a dedicated water application would be one.
I think that's a requirement, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it just seems like the rule maybe at least has to hit those high points.
Right.
And I'll ask
people-
also, does it need to say dedicated or could they file a different type of change application?
Yeah, I would just say like water rights application.
Okay.
And just, that gives you the
What if we
flexibility.
made that just sub 1 and could do enforcement?
Yeah.
Um,
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay. What other conditions would you want to see spelled out in rule?
That was the only one but I don't,
Okay. Okay, I think that's a good add though.
were there any other for the program at all in statute? I didn't,
The 2 out of 5 years, but I think that's in here.
it's above.
Above,
In
yeah.
that leasing criteria.
Do we need to repeat it down here in conditions imposed?
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't think so. Okay.
Well-
Anything else?
I guess though, are you gonna enforce that? And like if we give a lease and you do agreement, is that gonna be a condition imposed?
Yeah.
Then maybe you do need to require the 2 out of 5.
Only 2 full season leases out of a 5-year period.
I think the board just kind of needs to follow that rule in how they award it. And so if you get a full season lease for the 3rd year in a row, the board just kind of needs to deny it.
And you guys are gonna
But could
help
you
track it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Potentially do year 4 and 5 and then renew and do 6 and 7.
Mm.
So you could, no, but the idea is that there's no 5-year period where you have more than 2 full season leases.
Yeah.
So
And it's a
you-
rolling.
Yeah, it's a rolling 5-year period.
So any 5-year period, you can't have more than 2.
But you could do a split season on those other 3.
Mhm.
Cause I had someone ask me that the other day. Well, I don't know, maybe if I could figure it out, then I could just go 4 years and
Yeah.
do nothing.
Maybe that would be a reason to clarify in here.
Mm-hmm. Is everyone okay with that?
Or that
I'm
person
not
does a
on board
fixed
with
time,
I know.
or that person does a fixed time.
Yeah,
Doesn't-
I think that there are
Well, I think
other
that's different,
opportunities.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they do dedicated though, isn't it in statute for dedicated?
Mhm.
It's 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it's in statute for
In
dedicated
Canada,
and
this is that we
statute.
don't want people to get in their money that we don't want them to do ag. right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
Those absentee landowners, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Mainly?
So I think we put it in
Yeah,
here
spell it
as a
out.
condition. We spell it out
let's fill it out.
again.
Is there a scenario where a leaseholder could be switching fields? So you'd have the same lease, but they'd be switching fields in that 10-year period? Would that cause a complication?
I think it's
Was it
field
fields or water?
specific. Field. So you can't fallow a field, the same field 2 out of 5 years.
And you could
More than
rotate.
2 out of 5
If you
years.
have like 4
You could
fields,
rotate
you
a
could
Uh-huh.
single
rotate.
leaseholder within a single lease.
And you could
Theoretically, if you have enough fields,
do that in perpetuity. Every
Right.
year you have a field you're doing a full season lease on.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if that might even be another element to put in here, that rotating fields is allowable or something.
Or
I don't
field,
know.
it would be like field
Oh.
specific, right? 2 out of 5 years on any given field. Is that how?
Is that gonna be hard for you guys to track?
Field or
No, we're gonna map
say
them.
something like specific acreage.
Or parcel of land.
Yeah, parcel.
Okay,
I think we ought to be, cause.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
I think that's better than field, because you could, if you have like a.
Split a
Overlapping
field.
field.
Yeah,
And that's
parcel.
allowed, like, I think we can do that with a map, that's doable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna map them, Kelly, so we would be able to go back and verify if it's the same field
Same.
again.
Okay.
They're watching you.
They are watching.
Yeah.
All these people that come after me, now,
Yeah.
now I can say, yep, they
They're
are.
watching.
Do you get other questions that might be helpful to spell out here?
I'm trying to think of the, I had a Jason Westover run in recently over the 4th.
He hasn't called me in a long time. He called me every day for every week for like,
Is this where we're gonna implement the lease? Like,
no, that would be in our policy, I
this
think.
would be the
Yeah.
policy.
And so I would rather not have it written here, so we can be flexible, because we're running into all sorts of,
Sorry. I jumped
no,
the gun.
you're good. You're good.
I'll keep thinking,
So you can share your Jason Westover story.
well, he just,
It is the same conversation. Yeah, he doesn't like the numbers I give him.
he did not like it.
You're killing alfalfa markets. I'm like, it's 15 tons
Yeah,
or 1,500
I
tons.
think I've told him that.
But his tune has changed now. I mean, alfalfa's $300 a ton right now. It's doubled.
Yeah.
in
Wow.
4 months.
Wow.
So,
And then I say, well, then don't lease. He said, all right.
Okay.
We good? Okay.
Enforce it.
Yeah.
2 more questions. In that 2B or 2D, the enforcement may request a hearing with who?
I would assume the board, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to clarify that.
Okay, and that was my next question on the hearing. Does it have to be the board? Or can it be like a designated portion of the board rather than the board?
That's a good question. Probably a designated portion.
I would think that would
You
be
wanna
more
be the appellate
effective.
version.
Yeah.
The bream.
Unfortunately, Teresa, it's probably gonna have to include you.
Oh,
'Cause
well-
it's gonna be regarding water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just seems like, if you're gonna require it to be the board and there's only 3 people, that's gonna put a big burden on them.
Okay.
Where if there's a hearing, then maybe it's the board in policy, maybe designates or something who that hearing committee
Okay.
is or something, subcommittee.
So could we just say a person subject to a hearing, by a committee decided on, or like how would we say that? Committee decided by the board,
Request a hearing,
Appointed by the board.
appointed by the board.
the board may create a committee that,
Determined. by
Yeah.
the board.
Could that even just be another subsection under that the board may determine a committee? So it could be the
Yeah.
whole board if we want it, or
So-
you can,
Yeah, that they can vote what they want to do.
so make a new,
Mhm.
new
under D.
subsection E. And
Yeah.
then say, the board may create a hearing committee,
Mhm.
to,
It could just say that, a hearing committee.
Yeah, they hear it.
a hearing committee.
To
then
hear Matters
reference-
brought before
Bills.
Yeah,
committee
D.
or something. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, just the last question is the very last item, K, where it says the board shall deposit money collected under this section in the general fund as dedicated credit to be used to implement the program. So, and the only reason I'm asking on as dedicated credit, so our enforcement fees go to the general fund and we don't get them back. You may have you may have one of those special accounts, but I don't think it goes to the general fund. I think you have to get it appropriated back out.
Okay.
But I didn't know if this board had a particular account that is authorized. Joel might have a better idea, or Kelly, you might, of those
Yeah,
special
Yeah,
accounts.
I doubt we do. I don't even know if we had a discussion on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I can find out
Yeah.
on
Because
that.
I think they enforce any money collected may just have to go to the general fund.
Okay.
And then it's kind of lost.
Well, and I do
but
know that
unless
it
there's
is spelled
something-
out that we can accept private donations also, so we might have a
You might.
special
If
account.
you do,
Yeah,
then it might not be into the general fund. It may be into that.
this account, okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna let any money go out of the system.
I know.
Don't lose it. It's
No, I
gotta
know
stay.
Joe well enough. That would drive him crazy.
Yeah. I think that might be that case that we have a
An
special.
account of some sort. So then I do think it needs to
needs to
go
reference
into
that.
that account
Okay. That's a
rather
good-
than general fund.
Great.
But I think it had to be spelled out in the bill if you
Yeah.
did, so you might.
And I think it might be,
Okay.
and we'll check, because there is a section in there. It's where they open up what's the code? Where we got this money out of
Okay.
The preservation fund,
is in, what is that code? It's like the main spending.
the
The appropriations bill.
appropriations bill, the bill of bills, or
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I should know.
I
this,
mean, if
but I
there,
don't.
that might be the preservation fund and that you guys can dedicate, have that authorization. If you don't have that authorization, that might be an amendment to do
make it-
this year
Yeah,
to get that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's all I had on that rule.
okay. Anything else?
I didn't catch anything else in that.
Okay. Are you okay to leave these more broad and write a policy doc?
I like broad.
Everyone else okay with that? Mitch, are you okay with that?
Sorry, couldn't find my mute. Yes, I am.
Okay. Awesome. Well, then the two of you need to make a motion and then we'll send these for a review.
I motion to approve the rules. Or is it rule, I guess, rules as we.
As amended.
As amended, yeah.
I'll second that to approve the rules as amended.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Sweet.
I guess.
We will get those.
At least we don't have to go through like 8
Yeah,
members.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't have to do a roll
Roll
call.
call vote.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're up, Micah, on pricing.
Okay.
And, well, you're good.
Okay, I need to.
Yep.
I'm gonna start with my spreadsheet here. So, one of the things that I don't think that was the only action item the board needs to make today. We do need to have another meeting where one of the things, I've got so many tabs. One of the things that the board will need to decide at a future meeting, the next meeting,
Yeah,
is going to be pricing. What is the price that this program is going to offer 1 acre of a full season lease?
Right.
for 2027. So we're
Yeah.
playing the hay price game.
Now Hannah and I have talked about, now ultimately this is up to the board, but we have talked about maybe changing something for next year that we're kind of doing this year. We didn't really do because we only leased in one place, but that was, we originally anticipated having a slightly different price for different parts of the basin, where we would price water closer to the lake more, farther away from the lake less. Hannah and I have actually talked about moving away from that and having one price for the entire basin. And the reason for that is because we can then have ranking criteria that would grant that sort of preference to applications closer to the lake, easier to shepherd. There are other elements that make a lease better or worse that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we
But
kind of felt like we were doubling down on like, you
Yeah.
get a higher price and then we were gonna rank them higher, like if we
priority.
had priority areas.
Yeah.
So if we just do one price and then you all prioritize where you think the most valuable leases would be.
And this is, this table here is how Hannah and I sort of came to our price that we offered this year. Now, technically we were offering different prices for different parts of the basin, but we only leased in one part of the basin. So we only offered one price, and that was $464. So we took that price, we just rounded up 20 cents. And we offered $464 an acre for the leases that I talked about earlier in Cache Valley. And the way we got to that number was really the number we really care about. It's not the price. It's actually this number that I've highlighted here. It's what we call the value of applied water. And that's the economic benefit that all of the water a farmer puts on 1 acre of alfalfa. We're trying to estimate how much value all of that water provides him or her on 1 acre of alfalfa. And for 2026, we came to this number, $371.04. And I'll tell you guys how we got there. The place we start is the price of hay. You saw in the rule that we base the price off of the 5-year average price of hay from the direct hay report. We kind of set that price for this year. Now we set this back in last fall at $220 an acre.
A ton.
A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, not an acre. $220 a ton. I will say I don't actually think we went with the 5-year average at that point. That was actually kind of the spot price, was $220 a ton. And then we had to look at all the inputs that a farmer has into growing an acre of alfalfa. So the cost of fertilizer, herbicide, both pre-emerge, post-emerge, drag, dike, burn, and then the cut rate, bale, haul. This is like fuel costs, and then also depreciation on equipment that you're using. Probably the next most important number is this yield, the tons per acre in alfalfa that farmers are getting. Now that 4.5 may seem a little low, and that's intentional. We're trying to incentivize farmers to lease off of their marginal ground. And so we did set that yield kind of low. If we set it higher, even just a little bit higher, it'll change the value of that applied water pretty dramatically. So if I change that to 5 tons an acre, this number jumps from 371 to 481. It goes up $100 an acre. So that's a pretty important number that we want to get right, but we kind of want to err a little low on the yield per acre. But then we need to subtract out all of the revenue a farmer would get dry farming that acre, because we're looking at the value of the applied water. And so we then make those same estimates for both yield and all of the costs for an acre of dry alfalfa. And so you can see the inputs are significantly lower, probably because you're just getting one cut, and you're probably getting about 1 ton per acre. And on that one, we actually are, again, we're estimating maybe a little high, because again, this is the amount being pulled out, and we're trying to size marginal ground here. And so that's where we get this value of applied water, $371 an acre. And then what we want to say is that we're going to pay equal to or more than that on any lease. Because if we pay less, the farmer's not going to do it. It doesn't make financial sense. And so we then came up with what we called a multiplier, which is sort of like a premium. And what we initially were going to do was offer different multipliers for different parts of the basin. And for Cache Valley, for the Southern Cache Valley at least, we said we were going to do a 25% multiplier. And so that's where we got this 464 figure. We were going to do like a 35% multiplier
For the bear.
for the
Lower bear.
the lower bear, yeah, like Box Elder County. And that would have gotten us about $500 an acre. What Hannah and I have actually been thinking is moving away from the multiplier as well, and just saying, hey, this is the value of applied water. Board, you guys need to set a price, but just know that it needs to be higher than that, because no one's going to.
This is your baseline.
This is the baseline.
Yep.
I'm going to go to the 2027 numbers. These are, so this is where we start to estimate the price for next year. Now, the first thing you'll probably notice is that the price of hay is $204. I know that's wrong, but what that is,
That's a 5-year average, because last year sucked.
that's the 5-year average
wow.
based on the Utah direct hay report, and we had to use Idaho. I'm going to have Owen. In fact, Owen, you want to go ahead and talk about, I'll switch to your.
If you want to just drop, I'll screen share and show it on mine here.
Oh, sure. So Owen collected the prices from both the Utah and Idaho direct hay
Because fun
reports.
fact, we wrote into code that we use the Utah direct hay reports, and there's only 2 years that exist.
Yeah.
So we used Idaho.
So
So do you need to do that, say that in the rule, or available data?
Yeah, we probably should,
Something.
because we're gonna not have 5 years.
Kelly,
And
there's
there's even a better, more accurate hay report that they use out of California. It's called the Hoyt report.
Yeah, we saw that too.
And that one is what guys pay on, is the Hoyt report. So
Okay.
So yeah, if you guys want to use that one, we can use the Hoyt report. Mitch or Joel, any preference?
Our influence from out of the state of Utah is increasing, and if there was a report to go off of, it would likely be the Hoyt report. There is one other one, but I think that's fair enough to get started as we build more data to reference.
just be able to use multiple things, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like bring your testimony of the whole.
No, but we want to give the board cover when you set a
No.
price, you needed the opportunity to come back and say, this is why. Because someone always have someone that's mad.
Hey, Hannah, this is Joel here. That having that reference point back to whether it's a Hoyt report or as time goes on, there may be something better or more accurate that comes up. But I also think that we need to be extremely careful because the statement that Micah made, where this is the floor and the board can set it above that. We need to be extremely careful in not having kind of a sky's the limit type approach. If there is a premium above the value, right? That bumps that number up 25 or 35%, whatever that is, needs to be justified and pretty consistent. What we can't have is because, just we live, work, and, shop, whatever, in the Great Salt Lake watershed. We know these people. We know who we potentially know who might be interested. And we have to avoid any sort of even appearance of a conflict. And so it has to be very, very much, independent, validated, and consistent.
Yep.
To avoid any sort of complaint, like to minimize complaint. We're never going to avoid them entirely, but minimize any sort of complaint of what might happen. So,
yeah.
What was the reasoning for a 5-year average? Why not like 3 years?
I don't know.
I think that's
This is
just
what
kind
we
of
wrote.
a standard,
Okay.
a standard
Yeah.
5-year average.
Throw out one bad year.
well,
What's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that it's always like when we have looked at those, they're always lower than what I talk to guys. Like I just shipped 6 semi-loads to Lyman, Wyoming for $270 a ton in April, right? Not 204. And so it's these.
but Hannah, there's the quality issue that's not being factored into those. I mean, necessarily, right?
Totally. So we got
Because-
of averages.
And so that's where that average comes in, because everyone, and I'm the same way, we all think our hay is the best that we grow, and we should be getting top dollar for everything. But part of this too, guys, honestly, like as time goes on, and it's no different than other programs that we've tried to do. If we set a price and we say it's $450 an acre, and you don't get any takers, well, then you're probably too low, right?
Yeah.
You set a price and and you got more takers than you're ever going to have money for. Your price is probably too high, right? The market will help drive that result as well.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And that's where
Participation in the market.
there's a lot of really smart economists that really, really want to help us do price discovery. And we are just picking a price and we're going to discover it ourselves.
You sound like a really smart economist, Hannah.
So, but sincerely, we need to cover the board's butt on how we set a price and just have something to reference back to.
I'm good with the Hoyt report.
So do you guys need
go
a
back to the-
amended motion
Yeah.
to say?
We're gonna add
or best available
data.
So I would say
Or something.
that's gonna conflict with what is currently in statute. And because this is what's in statute right
Yeah,
now.
this is in statute.
This is statute.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
so,
So we're going to have to update that.
yeah. I
So
think
you're stuck with the hay report this year.
the good news is it doesn't say that it has to be like 25% above, but it just says consider. And
Yeah.
so we're on the record considering it, and we'll have another meeting where we'll dive into these prices more.
Yeah.
There's those two
Mitch had to
statutory.
jump off anyway.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So you should consider, and then that's a good idea. That it could be this or best available data, and then it'll give us the opportunity. I still think that we use the Hoyt report for figuring it. We considered this direct hay report. Let's look at the Hoyt report also.
Most hay brokers in Utah.
Use Hoyt.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll jump on that. I think the next meeting we'll get on the Hoyt report and have Owen, let me just go to your trend. This is from the hay.
So we did an analysis of the data that was available. You can see Utah starts in 2024. Mean from just Utah data is very, very low compared to realistic prices right now.
It's all over the place too.
Taking just Idaho, we isolated southeast and south central regions of Idaho, which we considered to be the closest to part of the Great Salt Lake Basin, so applicable to what we need here. This gives us our highest mean that we achieved at $230 per ton. But this has a big gap. You can see there's a lot of missing data in the 24 to 26 timeframe. So we also did this combined with Utah. This is supplemented between the two. This gives us a $208 average. So we've got Idaho, and then we've got all these Utah samples. So Idaho shuts off when Utah starts. And then the $204 number is Idaho and Utah both follow through to consider all existing data. And this is alfalfa hay sold by the ton within all of Utah and southeast and south central Idaho.
So our question, sorry, Joel.
I just had a really quick question. So you said that was all of Utah. Is there a way to just get the northern Utah market? Or do you consider, I mean, maybe that all of Utah is marketable because it is so close that it just ships up and down.
If you look only at northern Utah, there's just not a lot of data. We could break it out, but it would.
In fact,
I don't think that it would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So.
It doesn't move the number. Okay. Well, and it's also, again, like, hay is traded back and forth throughout Utah. So
Yeah.
it's justifiable to be an all of Utah number. That's fine.
if it was of interest, it would take just a couple of minutes and we could isolate that data and see if that's
So-
good at all.
We're not asking for an approval on a price here. We just wanted to show you the method that we're using. What do you think? What else should we be
Can you go
considering?
back to it?
Yes.
Like
Oh,
this,
yeah.
Can I ask one other quick question too? When you're going back,
Yep.
it was a little bit fuzzy. Did the statute require the 5-year look back, or can that be adjusted?
The statute required that we consider a 5-year look back, but I think we considered it and then you still can make a decision. It doesn't require a decision based on that.
I'm just curious if you did just 3-year average, what would it do? Can you look?
It would, I don't think I'd be able to pull it up.
No, you can.
I think it would bring your number down because
Because of last year.
Last year, and you're losing the 2021, 22.
The highest numbers that I have are Idaho late 2022, and that's up in that year probably
5
averaged
years
$300 a ton in
helps us.
Idaho.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because then for next, go ahead.
Sorry. If you look at it too, I mean, that corresponds almost directly with the drought cycle, right? The wet and dry cycle. And in those dry years, water, when the hay is the most expensive, the water is also going to inherently be the most expensive, right? It's a premium.
Yep.
Whereas in the wet years, there's hay kind of everywhere, and there's also a lot of water. And so it makes sense.
Explain the fertilizer to me, the -33.
So that's the difference
It's an about 33% increase,
Yeah.
not a negative, sorry.
Sorry. That's about 33. So those are the changes between last year, and remember that the 2026 numbers we kind of set kind of in November of last year, and then the 2027 numbers we set in the last week or so. And so about a 33% increase in the price of fertilizer. I'm seeing about 26% increase in the price of diesel.
Yep.
And so that's mostly that cut rate bale haul is mostly just diesel
Fuel.
and then the decrease in price of hay. But again, I think that $204 probably take that with a grain of salt. It's
I was gonna say, as long as they have the ability to be able to, yes, we're considering
Yep.
this, but
Absolutely.
here's today's market. We're not gonna attract anybody
Right.
out here,
Yeah.
so.
And that's exactly what we want to do. We will have basically a proposal for you at our next meeting to approve a price.
Yeah.
We just want to know, do you want us to consider anything else in prep for next
Yeah.
meeting to approve a price for 2027? So we're kind of crystal balling.
So just a question, is there a reason why the price has to be set in July or August versus say November? Just to make sure that if any price increases or inflation, and maybe it's not gonna
Yeah.
make that big of a difference, but if would that change that
Mhm.
number drastically, that you'd hate to have people commit to that number and then have some inflationary something happen in that 3 months that drastically change? I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't change that
So-
often, but
The
great,
statute,
yeah.
HB 410, the statute requires this board to approve applications on December 1st.
Which is
Which
also a
means-
statutory change. We want to at least give
Yeah,
us another
We
month.
do want
Okay.
to change that timing around a little bit, but for now, they need to be approved December 1st. And so that means that applications probably need to be in around November
Yeah.
1st, which means applications need to be open probably sometime in September.
September, so August.
And
5th.
so we need to, we probably early September is about the latest we could.
We
set
want to be
price.
able to advertise a price for our application
Okay.
season.
I like the calculate. I'm just, just love to see if Joel thinks we've missed anything here, but I know he's driving, but what
Joel,
about?
I don't know if you can see it. Would it be helpful if I just tell you what we considered?
Sure.
So we considered fertilizer, pre and post emergent herbicide, field prep, pesticides for weevil or aphids, and then cut, rake, bale, haul. So all of that for all crops, which is mostly your fuel, are the inputs we considered.
How about just even the cost of water to them to grow,
Yeah.
or equipment cost?
So you're talking about like assessments.
Yeah.
So we actually don't include assessments because
Okay,
assessments are still going to be paid when they're leasing.
okay.
So if you're leasing your
Makes
water, you're
sense.
still paying it. So it's not going to be part of this
Yeah.
calculation.
Yeah. And so equipment is kind of included in that big, that's why that's $440. So it's fuel,
Fuel.
wear and tear on your
Okay.
tractor if you're making a payment. If you're,
Depreciation.
yeah.
And actually, the other number, like I said, one of the number that moves us the most by changing it is actually not the price of hay, it's the yield.
Yeah.
And so I've got 4.5 tons. Like I said, that should be a below average, but I don't want it to be too far below average.
Yep.
So I guess like what do you guys, does that need to go up? Does that need to go down? If we move it just up a little bit,
Yeah,
the
it's a
price
little bit.
goes up quite a bit. If
Yeah.
we move it down a little bit, price goes down a little
Which
bit.
I think,
What
Okay.
did you use for your to come up with that 4.5 ton per acre yield?
Talking to farmers.
yeah,
and-
we just averaged it. We just asked a lot of yields, like all over the board, and averaged them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have thought we may have asked you, Joel, but maybe we didn't. Like
We did. I talked to you about it, Joe.
I'm sure you did. I probably didn't answer.
So that I would say we want this to be like between like below the average, but above like 25% of the average. Like
Yeah.
just one of the weaker fields, but I don't want this to be the floor.
Yeah.
So it's 4.5 tons per acre is what we've put in there.
is that, sorry, I don't know if Joel was gonna, is that pretty consistent comparing cash to box elder would be?
Yeah, that's what
similar?
average is. Box elder is probably higher than cash. He's not listening.
There's a reason.
Are you joking, Joel?
Well, no, I mean, it's joking, but it's also true. Box elder's the best.
Quality
And-
over
That's why.
quantity.
And the reason that I was asking that question is because you did talk about that previously you were gonna have price per area.
Yeah.
And does that 4.5 translate well enough to have one price all across the area, or is it make sense to
Yeah.
do your special areas or something?
Yeah. And it's hard because going back to Spencer's point, it's just guys talk.
Mhm.
So the one price, it helps that
Oh, okay.
if guys are talking, and then we just prioritize it in the ranking, but
Yeah.
I like it.
4.5 is marginal, like good guys on good ground, easily 7 to 8 ton.
Mhm.
So 4.5
Yeah.
would definitely be considered marginal.
Okay.
like if
And
you're getting
targeting
4.5
marginal
ton,
lands.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
if you're getting 4.5 ton, you might consider leasing your water.
Yeah.
That would be, yeah.
You should probably consider other things too, Hannah.
Moving to box elder.
Okay,
You should consider moving to Box Elder County where
actually, we don't have room for you.
that's true. That's true. No, I think it's a fine average. I mean, I get that that's what drives and moves because it's a value. That's a on the revenue side, that's the value proposition here.
Yeah.
But is that what gets us the 400? What was the dollar amount per acre for? $500 an acre?
Yeah, it was 464 last year.
Now,
Yeah.
Can I let me ask a question. This is more on the water rights side. Teresa, what is the duty for Cache Valley?
There's a 3 and 4 areas.
Yeah. Four
Okay.
Four
different.
in the south,
so.
3 in the north.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we consider this, we're kind of making this broad assumption because we're pricing this, everyone's the same. We're also making a broad assumption that all consumptive use is the same, right? Because there's
Certainly.
That's why we want
sorry, what?
that's why we want to add ranking points to those areas. Cause if the duty is different or higher, then we would be the water we're getting is more water for fewer dollars.
Right. So that's exactly where I was going, Hannah, is
Yep.
ultimately the ratio that matters in the discussion and in order to keep a program like this going, it is what is the cost of per acre foot of water delivered to the Great Salt Lake, dedicated to Great Salt Lake.
Yes.
And so you might pay 400 acres up in Rich County, but you're getting 1 acre foot for that, right? Yeah. But down in Box Elder County, you're paying the $400, but you're going to get 2.
Yeah.
Or more.
Or more. Yeah.
1.4.
And so just being considerate of that as well. How do we reconcile that with, I guess it's just part of the ranking. What I don't want to do though, is we have enough funding. I'm going to be very optimistic that we're going to have as much funding as we need for whoever wants to participate in the program. And so how do we reconcile someone's getting paid $200 an acre foot of consumptive use and someone's getting paid $300 or $400 an acre foot? We just say that's just how the program is. I mean, that question will come up. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, just the way we talk about it, the way we utilize and we measure and we do everything comes back to cost per acre foot.
So Joel, I think that when Hannah and I decided to move away from different prices for different regions, we actually were operating under a different assumption than you just said. We were operating on an assumption that we would need to be saying no to people because we don't have the funding.
Yeah.
And so, but if you're right, Joel, that we're going to have long-term, pretty much every year, we're going to have enough or almost enough to fund everybody, then I think that we do start to move into different prices for different regions.
Okay. We can, and we're not so restricted that we can't adjust if we need to.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. So that was me being super optimistic that we're going to have lots of money into this program. Maybe it happens and we can adjust. If it doesn't, then we're set and we're probably okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because ultimately we want that a competition will drive the best possible outcome.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when if we have enough money, we need to create another way to be scrutinize these a little bit more. And the way to do that is by then starting to offer different prices. And so, yeah, I think that is the direction we move. If it's, oh, wow, we've got plenty of money.
Sounds like Joel knows, he's got a blank check.
I know.
I'm just thinking,
Like the optimism.
big, beautiful billion, Kelly. Big, beautiful billion.
Well, my one thought on that is I recognize there's the point of diminishing marginal returns. I understand that, but if say the budget wasn't a problem, and the end goal was to deliver water to the lake, those guys that it was harder to get water to the lake or the value is lower, you don't want to discourage them either. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that as you do capture more water close, that higher value or lower hanging fruit, sure. But I do think this model does discourage the water that's a little harder right now, right? But I think as you're looking, if you really do want to capture those water systems that are further away, you might have to tweak that a little.
Yeah.
Because they will feel like I'm doing the exact same thing, but I'm getting less.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Hmm.
Yeah, we got to chop right along.
All right.
We're gonna bring this back. We're gonna decide on a price next meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We might not have time to review the application. So in terms of policy discussion, I just wanted you to roundtable with you all. What do you want to see on that policy sheet? Like right off the bat, what would you want it to be? Like, do you want to clarify the 2 out of 5 years? So we put that in.
Can I ask just one other question?
Please.
So this year you guys have focused in Cache Valley. For the 2027, there could be box elder and cash leasing going on.
Or Weaver too.
Or Weaver. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to, because I think it would help us to prioritize our network work to get that built out wherever you guys are targeting. And so I'll just check.
Yeah.
Make sure not just cash, but
Box Elder. Yeah. If you're
Box
going to
Elder
pick
and
another
Weaver.
one, it would be Box Elder.
Yeah, I think most of these are gonna be cash and box elder.
Okay.
I think we may get some interest, but.
okay.
Do you want to talk about leased ground?
Yeah, let's talk about that too. And that might be, I might just work on trying to put a policy doc together just based on my thoughts that you guys can improve for the next meeting. But the other thing, the big other thing we wanted to talk to you about was our leased ground. It's our favorite conversation, leasing off of leased ground. So Micah and Owen have had some really valuable interactions come up. We just feel like it's worth a discussion. I know this year we said we're not leasing on leased ground, that we can absolutely still do that. But we have run into things like, well, my dad owns the farm and I run it. So I lease the farm from my dad and like, we're okay. We're going to lease the water. And we've had to be like, sorry, can't do it. You
But
know,
can dad lease it?
Dad
Yeah.
can lease it. Yeah.
and the worst part is dad leased it and then passed away
Oh, no.
mid-lease.
Oh,
This was like really bad.
oh no.
No, it was really bad. So we wanted to just throw out a couple of options to consider for the board to think about. We can still just do the no, we're not doing it on leased ground. That's fine. Another option would be if both parties, so if the landowner and the operator both know about the lease, they're both party to the lease, maybe the landowner gets a little higher payment or however they want to work that out. We could do that. Another option, I actually had Braden McMurdy mentioned this as a way, he called it like an NRCS. We call it the NRCS option, which is, it's essentially set up like an NRCS contract where we would contract with the operator to lease and the operator would just get an acknowledgement from the landowner, like, yep, I'm fine for this operator to enter into this agreement. So in terms of the NRCS, they don't really know what the land or what the operator's getting paid. They just say like, yeah, I acknowledge that you're going to put a pivot on my ground. I'm cool with that. So that could also be an option, but we were just trying to think through, you know, what I really want to avoid is guys getting ground wiped out from under them. And
That was the purpose.
yep, that's the whole purpose. But we're running into places where like, gosh, this really does make sense.
Yeah.
Or it's like 6 siblings, one sibling runs it. We weren't able to lease because they don't own all the ground. Like just some weird, we
got
can't outguess that.
A guy that we're leasing, he owns ground, we're leasing water from him, but he also runs all the church ground in Cache Valley, and he potentially would have been able, assuming the church would have okayed it, would have been able to lease a lot of water in that case, but we say no because we don't do lease ground. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I think we originally came to this discussion assuming that the interest would all be, no, we don't want to get into leases. We don't want the commissioner's office getting involved. Then when we actually start leasing in Cache County, we're like, oh, I wish I could.
Yeah, there's been so many instances that are like, gosh, this is really prohibitive. Like I could lease a lot more water. And we've had
Guys, however we establish that kind of rule in our process, and I don't know, is that a code restriction, Hannah? First of all,
no,
I thought we put it in the statute, some leasing language there. Did we not?
no, we didn't.
Yeah.
It was just the two.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so the purpose of that whole, you kind of touched on it just a little bit, Hannah, but whatever we do, we need to make sure we're protecting we're protecting production agriculture, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't want, I mean, too many instances I've seen, the only thing that's keeping the farm alive or keeping the operator on the ground is that one of the siblings is actually still wanting to actively farm.
Mhm.
And if the rest of the siblings can get together and kind of strong arm him, take the water away, this guy's done, right? Or we're out competing and driving up rental rates. That's the other concern. We don't want to be driving up rental rates.
Yep.
Because we're willing to pay the landowner more than what the rental rate would be
Yep.
to grow hay, right? Or something. Like we just have to be, I know it's like our goal is to get water in this program is to get water to the lake. But if we bite the hand that feeds us and we do it the wrong way, we're done. Like
Totally.
it's not, we're dead, right? So
I feel like it's fair to say our other goal is to keep production agriculture with this program.
yeah.
Does that speak to the third option where the contracting entity that we are, the entity that is supposed to submit the application and sign the contract with us is an operator. And if you're not operating the land, we're not going to do business with you in this program. Now, if you don't own the land, the owner will need to have an acknowledgement that, yeah, we need to have that acknowledgement from the owner to make it work. But ultimately the contract is with the person operating the land. Is that
In that case, would
Okay. I like that.
It would still have to be the owner of the water right or the water share that files a change application, though, correct?
No, the company could file a change application.
yeah, the company's filing a change application anyway.
They would only be in those direct share.
Water rights.
So what? Yeah, a pumper. Yeah.
And I think we would say the same thing about ownership of the land as we would about ownership of the water. And
Yeah.
so it's, if you're operating that land, as far as we're concerned, you're eligible to at least submit an application to have it considered, as long as the owner of the land and the owner of the water shares. We might need to make sure that's, because sometimes it's a different entity that owns the water and owns the shares. That's not very common, but something that does happen. Where the owners of those two assets have acknowledged this, but they're still not the contracting entity.
Yeah. They're not party to the agreement.
Yeah.
It just isn't like NRCS. It's like they call it a landowner consent form. And you just say,
Yeah.
I, Kelly Pearson is doing a contract on my ground. That's it.
Remind me, what did we do on the green belt? Like if someone leases their green belt land and they're not doing production ag, does it affect their green belt status?
So in statute, it says that that you are still eligible to have your land on the green belt if you're participating in a quote water management program.
Okay.
I don't really like that term. I went to speak at the Utah Association of County Assessors or Assessors Association last year. And there was one assessor, I think it was like Kane County or something, it was a Southern Utah one, that I think didn't buy it, but I have spoken to, the Cache County assessor I know quite well, and Box Elder County as well, which are the two that we work with the most. They both are like, yeah, it's
okay, good.
And I think they interpret the statute to mean our program is a water management program.
I guess, I don't know, and are you going to run into cases, I mean, in your scenario, you kind of say that in the con of the third one, where a landlord, hey, I want my land to be used for productive ag, but he's doing it for something else and making more money than I could have been making that money.
Yep.
How are you going to run into more of those?
Well,
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is, the owner couldn't make that money unless they started operating the land. That's in this third option. That's the requirement this board would kind of need to set, is that you need to be operating the land. If
In order to be eligible, you have to be the operator.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And even in
I do too.
even in the instance of where we said like, hey, no leased land, we've had like, I don't think that it's happened, but there has been talk about like, well, then I'm going to just kick the operator off, run it myself. Right. Like, I don't think we can outguess this. It's just as sticky no matter what we do. But Mitch and I have had some conversations about like, okay, fine, but that's going to get really expensive. So that $500 an acre goes away. Like, what equipment do you have? We require it to be in production. We require, like, you have to, right? You can't just leave it a weed patch. And so I think it feels like it might quickly weed that out from happening, but I don't know.
And another thing I might recommend is that maybe this at the next meeting is that this board may want to define operator.
Yeah.
And say, this is what because we do have some scenarios where I've had people say, well, I operate the land, but I don't own a tractor. So my neighbor, he cuts it, bales it.
We're just, yeah,
I
someone
just-
custom farms it for him.
Yeah.
And
So
so
it's
we're like, oh, this is getting really sticky.
Yeah. So and Hannah and I can put something together.
Why don't we also, like, we say the eligibility is for the operator, but why don't we create some say basically, if you are owner and operator, clean and easy, you get like a bonus point, right? You're going to be more eligible, because if we are short on money, let's stay away from these hairy projects. Let's do the clean projects, straightforward projects first, right?
I'm just trying to wrap my head around it again. So if there is an operator that decides he's going to lease the water, then it's going to have to be the canal company that then files a change application, and they're going to potentially have to then pass that money down to the owner, and then the owner would have to then pass that money down to the operator. Like, once again, help me understand how that transition would look.
The leases with the.
No, the canal company would file the dedicated application that would allow shareholders to do that. But the contract would be with the shareholder. Like, we're paying the shareholder to not irrigate. That's the contract. And then we would work with the canal company to actually deliver the water. But the contract is to forego irrigation. That's what you're committing to do.
Yeah.
So to point on the ranking, would it be the operator, landowner, and water owner all line up? That would be
ideal. Like, I own the shares, I own the land, and I'm running it.
And you're running it.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I think we'll probably need to review the application later, but in the application, if your canal company has signed a contract with us to lease water, then you're going to be good to go. I mean, you'll definitely get approved, but you probably will. If your canal company hasn't yet come to us and signed a contract, that's going to be an issue, because we're not going to have the dedicated water application filed necessarily.
Yeah.
If they're actively meeting with us and getting it done, then that might be fine. So
yeah, I think the other sell here, I don't think that we need to advertise this, right? Like, I don't think we need to go out and give presentations about leased land. Like, maybe we just do those in the one-offs as they come in, right?
I was thinking that, what if you just required these type things to come to the board or
Yeah.
something?
Absolutely. And we want to be able to work with our staff also to just work through these things, and we flag it and bring it to the board and like, hey, it's a son that runs his dad's ground. We can get the landowner consent. Yeah. I think that's a great idea. It could just be up to you guys. Yeah.
Stand up for an insight so this year we've operated under option number 1, which is no water leaks on leased land. And I think in any program there's deception in various, and the biggest worry was that people would be putting water on land that they were not supposed to be putting water on. In my experience, that hasn't been the case. There's been a few places where poor infrastructure has led to water where it's not supposed to be, no deliberate application. I think that operating under option 1 has been our biggest vulnerability this year to being deceived by the people who are leasing. And it's a lot of times it's folks who just, maybe there's not real paperwork in the way. And so there is an operator who is being affected, but they're faceless and unrepresented because the owner of the land has chosen to omit that they exist. So it's, like you said, those people who don't necessarily own their own equipment.
We had a guy who's leasing water from us. He came to my office, and he has one field he owns and operates, another field he owns and leases out. He couldn't lease that second one
because he was honest.
And he said, well, all these other people who are leasing, they've been lying. They told you they run it and they don't.
Yeah.
And he gave me a couple of names of people we are leasing from that he said just straight up lied to us. And so I a good way of enforcing this isn't in statute. This is kind of just an internal policy for this program here, but it is that those things are going to come up. And I think those people probably didn't consciously lie to us. It's folks that I think one of them literally is the guy who's like, I don't own a tractor, so my neighbor he
bails it for
he
me.
bails it. But,
Somebody perceived that as not operating.
In one instance, we have a lessor who owns multiple parcels. One of his parcels was ineligible because he is under contract with a farmer for a 10-year period, where that operator has, in writing that he has access to that water. And then on a different parcel, he has a no written contract that we're aware of and has enrolled that, but somebody else is cutting and harvesting the wheat that's growing there, for instance.
it's just really messy.
I mean, I'm leaning for option 3 if we have to go a direction, but are we gonna spend the 2.5 million pretty easily without doing leased land?
Probably.
We might.
It depends on if we can get Bear River Canal Company to file a dedicated, honestly, Bear River Canal Company will file a dedicated application. We'll probably spend it really easy.
Yeah.
And Trevor left.
Yeah, and so did
Where's Trevor?
Texas.
Wow.
West Texas. I hear.
Yeah.
It's not hot enough. It's not hot enough here for him.
Yeah, Adam.
Did your contract say they have to dry farm the leased fields, or they can, okay, they do
Yes.
have to maintain some?
Yeah, we're
production.
gonna require production and then give some examples. We're also gonna work with like soil health program. If they want to do a cover crop, like, hey, here's 3 options. Like, do you want to graze it? Do you just want cover? Do you want something? But yeah, it
They
will be
can't just walk away.
required production still.
One
Yeah.
thing I'm looking for when I'm on site is signs of basically maintaining the land.
Yeah.
So I'm taking, let's see, it's right here. I'm taking note of the land use, so what's being grown there, the variety of condition, whether there's signs that a lot of times like early in the season, there will be signs of having a sprayer come through.
Right.
Those kind of things I'm taking notes so that I know if somebody's just,
Andy. No, I can't have,
if they're sitting on
I
it
can't.
or whatever.
Right.
but I can't.
Cash Valley.
It was a 1-2 punch
Yeah.
for them.
It wasn't?
Randy Udy left and Trevor Nielsen.
Yeah.
So Trevor's moving to West Texas permanently.
And Randy went to work for Sunrise Engineering.
I heard West Texas.
It is right. So guys, we got 15 minutes left. Thank you so much. Quick sandwich for you. Are you hungry?
I had a belly full.
Can we table this?
Yeah, you were. This is not an action item.
Okay.
We wanted you to think about it.
Yeah, let me think.
And these are not, you're not limited to these options. We wanted to just give you somewhere to start.
Okay.
On those. For sure. Okay, you bet. Let's keep
Sorry, just one more question, Hannah. So are we going to have people going out there and ground truthing this?
Yeah.
Making sure that that if producers have leased their water, that they're not putting water out on the ground and.
Yep, that's exactly what we're doing, Jim. And that's why we've had Owen as our summer intern. That's been his full-time job this summer. Full-time, part-time. Owen is in the room. I don't know if you can see him.
Okay, thank you.
So yes, we will be ground truthing. For sure.
Did you email this to us?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
No, we didn't, but we will.
I was gonna say you did. I didn't see it.
I'm sorry. I thought you said we will email this to us.
Try to say you did that.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask Joel a question on the grant funding or the funding?
Absolutely.
So in the rule, it had any enforcement fees collected would go. Joel.
Okay, enforcement fees collected would do what?
Would go to the general fund, and then go to a special fund. Does this program have one of those? You always know the name of those, dedicated accounts.
You have a special revenue account?
Does it have a special revenue?
This is my office. Okay.
No
So,
way.
so then the
I don't think
enforcement
you do
fee.
either.
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay.
It's in the rule for here.
Oh.
That the fees, so basically if somebody defaults, the enforcement would go back, get that money back. So
Well,
it
to
has to go,
recollect the.
it has to go to the general fund. and
Most of the
then
times, fines and citations always go to a general
Right.
fund and none of it comes
Comes
back.
back.
But sometimes you
Or
can make an
fees,
exception.
Like
Well,
how much
I-
of the 12,000 protests to the Stratus project?
Do I get a keep?
$15 fees did you keep?
Oh, no,
That
no. So I do get dedicated credits back.
Right.
based on that, but I don't get my
That
enforcement.
may be something we'd
piece.
want to, I think what we'd want to do is look at, because we didn't really contemplate, there was
Yeah.
going to be a lot of collection.
One
like-
thing to
Like, we're gonna go
consider,
hire Guido
Yeah.
to go beat some people up to get money back, or what are we doing?
but one thing to consider, listen, this might solve our problems.
Today I want to do that.
Serious. This might solve our problems. We are not paying until the end of the irrigation season.
We
So
don't
that-
pay.
Yes.
So you want,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a.
But okay,
very
well, tell me what a
rare-
violation is. I say I'm not gonna irrigate and I irrigate.
Yes. So we're not gonna
Well,
pay
what if
you
I have a
any.
little extra water on my turn.
Too bad. Send it to the lake, please.
Cause yeah, your contract was not to irrigate. Your
Yeah.
contract was not over a volume. It was
It's not to irrigate.
And so that means that in a dry
means
year,
I can't weasel the system.
yeah,
Correct.
in a dry year, you make out like a bandit. But in a wet year, in a dry year, you make out like a bandit because you get more money for water.
You might not have, yeah,
But in a wet year,
I mean,
we make out like bandits.
we good. Yeah, so that, it might, in my mind, I don't foresee it being an issue because we've even had one that he like signed a lease with us and then panicked and was like, never mind, I'm not doing this. And we're like, okay, we just canceled his
And they
contract.
didn't have,
Just cancel.
okay.
but the money never went out.
It never went out. Yep.
Okay, so,
Maybe it's not a big
one other
deal
thing I was gonna say is if there is a requirement to maintain some level of agriculture, whether it's a cover crop or grazing or something, I think that's gonna handle and cover all our greenbelt concerns.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
there's not gonna be,
Yeah.
that won't be a concern.
And it's nice to remind
Um,
people, Greenbelt is not tied to irrigation.
Yeah.
And
It's production, it's production.
it's
agriculture.
married in a lot of people's minds, but it's not
And
legally.
it is a pretty small, like a very low bar standard to get across to qualify
Yeah.
of the county average.
Yeah.
And so you're talking,
But we've
Yeah,
had
so
some
they can
counties
roll the
doing
west
their
side
green belt audits, and it's interesting how.
well, the county auditor or assessors are very aggressive right now.
Yes.
This is the batch of audit assessors that we have out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which
I
is why we want to clarify.
I saw this little old lady who had signed a lease and the guy never came one summer and she got a rollback bill, like an old widow.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Stop. Yeah.
It's like, and the assessor was like, well, I drive past it every day and I know what's going on.
oh my gosh.
Those are the phone calls we're getting.
That's an
Yeah,
unfortunate
being-
circumstance.
This is Bucks.
This was in Bucks.
Old, what's his face? He got. Yeah, he's down.
He got voted out.
Everyone got voted out of Fox.
Um,
He didn't have to
okay,
do it.
so the other thing, Hannah, are you keeping track of a list of like potential legislative modifications to this bill? And then, was it Colford that ran this last time?
Mhm.
Okay, so then we'll just coordinate with Jill or someone to help us run this again and make a few modifications. 'Cause
If you're not,
as we go through this,
if you're not paying until after, I don't think it's worth even trying to do a special revenue.
oh no, I wouldn't do that. But I think we want clarification that any collection, any
If we had to, yeah.
collection of fee goes to the account, goes back to the account, not
Okay.
to the general fund.
We
That's
can
an
make a note of that.
easy correction that finance can do, or that this, it'd go to, the state
The
finance.
preservation fund.
Yeah.
It'd go back into this, whatever this fund is. called.
The preservation fund, yeah.
Just have it
It's a
roll
terrible
back
name.
in there.
Can we
Well-
run legislation to rename it?
Whatever you want.
Great Salt Lake
Whatever we
Preservation
want.
Fund. What is that? It's terrible. I love it too.
And does
Okay.
this have a definition of Great Salt Lake Basin?
It does.
I may have something I want to talk to you about them,
Okay,
about
Got
that,
people all on their own.
Okay.
if you're gonna do.
Called the agriculture
Some
preservation.
yes,
Fund.
okay,
The
great, let me know.
message, We
That'd
could
be great.
capitalize it.
I know.
That'd be great. Let's just schedule our next meeting. Does that work?
Yeah.
Let's schedule our next meeting and then I will be prepared at the next meeting with a policy doc to approve, price to approve, application to approve.
Let me do the board members are.
You, Kelly, Mitch, Teresa and myself are non-voting.
And your Teresa's advisor, your advisor,
Well, the commissioner of Great Salt Lake is advisor,
and Teresa is
also advisor.
a member, just non-voting member.
Yeah,
not
that's
okay.
your board.
Spencer.
Oh.
Roger.
Everyone else, this is a public
Advise.
meeting.
Oh,
No,
you're, because it's a public meeting.
Yep.
Okay,
I heard they were saying.
Yeah.
please.
also I will throw out, myself included, Kelly, Joel, Teresa, you do have the option in statute to appoint a designee if that's helpful for
Okay.
you.
We also want to do it.
I won't be so late on the next meeting.
Thanks. Yeah,
And,
let's,
and I know it's a public meeting. But, for special request, can you just invite me to this meeting?
Yeah, you're invited from here on out. I invited you.
Add me?
I added you. You're invited. Is there anybody else that really ought to be here with us that would be beneficial? Like,
Like USCD folks.
yeah, I was gonna say like Nate, Alex, since he helped us
Nate,
get all,
yeah.
get all our leases in cash.
Did he?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah, he was so helpful with that.
It's awesome.
I know, it was so good. So good. Okay, so Mike and I were looking at September. Do you want to schedule a meeting for September?
Are we setting price for next year in September? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, price,
Price and
And
application, and policy. So
When you
we'll
say
have
application, what do you mean?
the application to,
Finalizing what the application actually looks like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just gone the whole week of the 14th, and that week I'm gone.
September?
what does the week of the 21st look like for folks?
I'm actually in Santa Fe,
Okay,
Colorado.
what does the week of the 7th look like? I am actually not here till the end of that week. the 10th. What does the last week of
But you've got the 11th as a hold on your calendar.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
What about the 10th of September?
I can make that work.
Yeah.
Maybe
That works for me.
Maybe more afternoon. Or a commission meeting in the morning.
Okay, so would like a 1 to 3 be okay?
Yep.
September 10th, 1 to 3?
Does that work for Mitch?
Sure.
He's not in New York playing baseball. It's good.
We don't know.
Poor guy.
I know.
Does that work for you, Joel?
Thank you. The last thing that I'll talk to you about is, this is not an action item, but I just want your input. I wanted to, in terms of personnel, I wanted to utilize funds for this program just to pay for Micah's salary, and Micah would act as a program manager, not act, would be preservation program manager, and then also be able to use Micah's other funds to hire a full-time field staff. If you guys are okay with that. Talk to finance and we can use dollars.
It's eligible.
It is eligible.
How much
So-
money do we have?
2.75 million. So it would be,
Mike is gonna take 2.5.
Mike is gonna take.
200,000.
Yeah. Oh.
Where was they being paid for
Out of our operating
Operating budget.
budget. So if we, and my operating budget is like gone. We can make it work if we need to, but if I could pay for Micah's salary out of this account,
You get a field guy.
then we could get a full-time field guy. And hopefully we can twist Owen into not prioritizing finishing his college. Just kidding.
Oh,
Finish it.
Finish it.
That's the worst. Don't even.
But finish
Stay
it.
with hand up. Yep.
So
That's 2 years. It's been
if you
nonstop.
guys are, that doesn't need to be an action item, but if you're okay with that, that's what I would like to do to set this program up. What do you think?
Good with it.
You guys okay with it? Joel, you okay with it?
I think it's needed.
I agree.
It's valuable.
Yeah, it's been super valuable. These two have been great.
It's like we lost it.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. And public comment.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
It's, I think we're on the right track.
Terrence,
Genuinely, I want to know, are we on the right track?
Yeah.
how does this, oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that there's always going to be that,
I don't understand.
you know, and Joel referenced earlier, of too low, you're not gonna attract the right people, too high, you're gonna
Yeah,
attract too many people and
Yeah.
you'll have a problem. But,
and we're using taxpayer dollars. We need
we
to
are
be
using
conscious of.
taxpayer dollars. You know, and commodity prices and fuel prices, you know, as long as you're always aware of,
Yeah,
you know, making
Right.
those modest adjustments, I think that the maths.
okay.
And I think if we try to get creative and say, oh, we just use a 3-year average instead of a 5 or whatever. Like at the end of the day, over time, it'll blend itself out.
Yeah.
And so consistency is going to be really important. Once we start to get into this, it's not making, it's being fairly consistent, right? So if it's that 5-year, we just kind
One
of
of the
grind it out
things,
at 5.
one of the things I want to avoid is what SCPP did. They started out like $600 an acre foot.
Yeah.
and then just went down.
Because they were on 23 hay prices or 22 hay prices.
Yeah, that is part of it. And
Well, so that was going to be my next point is having a consistent program in the state, whether it's here on the Great Salt Lake side or if it's over on the Colorado River side, because it won't be SCPP going forward. It's going to be a demand management program going forward. But there is money available. The feds are signaling that they're going to put more money into, potentially, if they can get an appropriation, they're going to put more money into the demand management program. And so you're going to see continued efforts on the Colorado River side. And I think as much as possible, I mean, this is a Great Salt Lake program, but if we work, I know you do, but work with folks in the authority to have a consistent program so that they have the ability to have a streamlined, or I won't say streamlined, but a very direct, straightforward change application.
Yeah, they're doing their program differently than these guys are, so they may not fit within the streamlined application, but
I know, but
we can encourage them.
Yeah,
to
and
be
we're
little
talking a
more-
lot with Mark and company about, we really are trying to bring these together where we can.
Yeah. So it may be helpful that, it's just some of the successes, and maybe it will start blending.
Yeah, it's
as
probably, speaking of, they should probably be invited to these meetings, I think,
Agree.
just to listen in on kind of what we're doing, how we're lining things up.
someone from their office probably should.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It could be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, and you were, some of you were in the meeting, but like we had, trying to learn from what, Matt has done with Palo Verde, or, what they're doing in Imperial Valley. Like, there's a lot of different examples of in this realm of, demand management,
How to make it work.
and how to make it work. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we do need a program that works for you. So I like this.
It means wet water.
And legitimate.
Oh. Or I need more pennies. And I think they stopped making pennies.
They did. Better go get them.
I know.
They're gonna,
I know.
100 years from now, people will get, what is that?
What is that?
I love that when I buy my drink at Maverick, which I do many times a day. And they like, you buy it, and then on their receipt, it's like penny roundup, and they give you 2 cents. Or it's like whatever you bought, so they can give you back a nickel. I'm like,
I'm making money on that.
I'm making.
I'd be rounding.
Thank you.
I'd be rounding the other way.
I know. I thought so too. They're like, give you back.
They are rounding together.
Yeah.
Because
I'm the
I bought a little
problem.
thing of donuts there, and it was like $3. I'm like, what?
It was $1 a donut.
For a little 6-pack.
They give you 2
Price
cents.
5 cents, and then they were out.
Oh, they increased it 10.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go even further, how the Maverick family donated for the Great Salt Lake. I think they should do a penny per purchase that raises money for the Great Salt Lake.
Heck, yeah.
There you go.
I love
And
man.
I think the 10 million bucks that we got is more than I think. But yeah.
Not for me.
You mean the roundup? The roundup goes to Great Salt Lake?
Yeah, I mean at Lowe's, right? When you buy at Lowe's and then you round to the next dollar or whatever, and it goes to Habitat for Humanity. So anyway,
At least I like it. I also really like Maverick.
so we would all be donating for the Great Salt Lake.
I know. I was the second half of last week. I was up in Montana. No Mavericks. They
Oh,
have really weird
Oh.
gas stations up there.
I feel the pride.
yeah.
I do.
We're so spoiled. We are so
And
spoiled.
their gas station is like 80 miles apart.
They're so far apart.
They're terrible.
In Logan, there's a Maverick on every corner, literally.
Yeah.
Really?
Two Mavericks.
Across the
Third
street.
south and
Oh
Main.
my gosh.
Yeah,
really?
two across the street from each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I got back into Idaho Falls, and the Maverick was there. Like,
Sweet, sweet reunion. Look at it. Just look at it.
that's how the Texans feel about Buc-ee's.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how we feel about Bucky.
I think I'm trying to move it out.
Or their taquitos.
That's true. But I'll displace my taquito diet for a brisket diet.
Okay.
Comes from Cache Valley.
Thank you so much. So
Backyard.
send me those statutory updates.
The
or?
Oh, yeah,
Of course,
we'll
flowers
talk
are
to you
all
about
Maverick.
with that,
Okay.
because it's
That's
probably
right.
gonna be a little bit.
I'll check that.
All
We'll
the
just put them back in the, or do you still want to eat it?
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay.
I was just gonna throw it.
I was gonna find the bags and we'll just haul
Okay,
them.
so I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I am gonna take my little Karen.
Thank
Do you have
you.
just resources? I gotta hunt to,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
the
call
best.
my-
I love a
my-
Moab. We make them at
I
home.
was gonna call it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always a little disappointed.
and what they, yeah, but I'm.
No.
Probably just been in the
Just eat the
long
beef
enough.
and potato burrito or the Moab burrito. And you're gonna be okay.
I'm a truck driver.
Amanda Daniels, okay. Thank you.
Are you going to Jamie's
I
or
have,
am I?
yeah, I have a meeting.